ChatGPT, the next evolution of artificial intelligence. This new AI chatbot can answer just about any question with a high amount of accuracy. From basic recall questions to writing essays on complex topics. It can even write programming scripts in whatever language you want. It is incredibly powerful, and it is the next step in the AI revolution. But what happens when you ask this chat AI a socially, morally, or politically complex question? Well, people have started to do this, and they noticed a trend. For example, people would ask it, write a poem admiring Joe Biden, and it would produce a nice poem about Joe Biden, admiring him. But instead of Joe Biden, you'd ask it to do it for Donald Trump. It would give you this response. I'm sorry, but I'm not able to create a poem admiring Donald Trump. While it is true that some people may have an admiration for him, but as a language model, it is not my capacity to have opinions or feelings about any specific person. Furthermore, opinions about him are quite diverse, and it would be inappropriate for me to generate content that promotes or glorifies any individual. That is kind of an odd response, considering it was able to write a poem admiring Joe Biden, but not for Donald Trump. ChatGPT also sometimes refuses to take a stance on comedians like Dave Chappelle. The stark difference in these responses has led people to think that ChatGPT might be politically biased. And so, does this mean ChatGPT is woke? First, we need to look at why OpenAI limits the responses of ChatGPT. It's quite simple, really. Initially, when ChatGPT was launched, you could ask it anything and it would generate a response. So you could ask how to make a bomb, and it would respond appropriately and lay out the process of making a bomb. OpenAI thought this was very dangerous to allow anyone access to a model that generates instructions on how to commit illegal actions. This is understandable from not only a societal level, but also a legal one for liability reasons. So OpenAI put restrictions on the bot. The chatbot would not answer any of your requests for illegal content. On top of this, it also included avoidance on controversial topics. Avoiding taking positions on controversial topics is exactly why ChatGPT won't fill some requests. It is also why some people think that ChatGPT is woke. But what these people don't understand is how AI actually works. ChatGPT goes through a two-step training process. The first is the pre-training. They train the model using a very large dataset that tries to predict the next word in a sentence. Think of this like your predictive text on your phone, but significantly better. The dataset they use to train the model is data collected from all over the internet. This helps the model determine what the best possible response to your question would be. But because of this, it also learns the bias that is within the text on the internet. The next step that ChatGPT goes through is the fine-tuning process. This is a narrower dataset to help generate better responses for more specific questions that are asked and the more popular requests asked of ChatGPT. They fine-tune certain categories chosen by OpenAI, and these categories change constantly. It would be impossible to fine-tune every output because there are an infinite amount of inputs that can go into ChatGPT. So the biases that you see in ChatGPT is not because that it is woke, or the employees of OpenAI are woke, or that they programmed every single response specifically, because that's just not how AI works. Artificial intelligence and machine learning is designed to solve problems with as little bias as possible. The bias that is seen within the model is because of the training dataset that it was given, not the people who designed the model. So what was this dataset that ChatGPT was trained on? Well, it was collections of blogs, articles, and any kind of text all over the internet. It's a little bit more complex than that, but that is as simple as I can put it. So if the bias of ChatGPT comes from the training dataset, and the training dataset comes from blogs, articles, and writings on the internet, that means the bias comes from the internet. So when ChatGPT doesn't pick a position on Donald Trump and refuses to write a poem admiring him, it is not because ChatGPT is woke or it doesn't like Donald Trump because it was programmed to not like him. What it does is it looks at all of the texts and writings on the internet about Donald Trump and decides whether or not those texts are controversial. And I think everyone can agree that Donald Trump is a very controversial person. So the model is trained that when it sees controversial opinions on a certain person or topic, it knows not to pick a side and will have this auto-generated response. The team at OpenAI has said they are working on trying to change this model so that way it does give you responses that aren't politically biased, or at least looking like they're politically biased. But it's very hard to do this when the model looks at billions of sentences all over the internet and they have different responses because the person they're talking about or the topic you're talking about is very controversial. So no, ChatGPT is not woke. It is just relaying the same information that you're seeing on the internet. So when ChatGPT doesn't give a response, it is because people who write about it on the internet find it controversial, not OpenAI and not ChatGPT.